Daniel does everything right. Every month, without fail, he moves $800 into a savings account. He has 6 months of expenses sitting in cash. His emergency fund is fully funded. His parents are proud of him. His friends call him responsible. At 45, Daniel has $97,000 in savings. He also has almost nothing else. Ethan, his college roommate, never really saved in the traditional sense. He spent his 20s putting money into things that made his parents nervous. Index funds, a Roth IRA, a brokerage account he kept adding to even when the market dropped. At 45, Ethan has $1.1 million. Same starting salary, same city, same decade of working. One of them followed every piece of financial advice they were ever given. The other quietly ignored most of it. And here's the part that should stop you cold. Daniel isn't the broke one because he made bad decisions. Daniel is broke because he made the right decisions in the wrong order. And almost nobody is going to tell him that, until now. Let's run the real math. Rewind 20 years. Daniel and Ethan are 25, fresh out of college, both land jobs paying $52,000 a year. After taxes, they're each taking home about $3,900 a month. Same starting line, completely different finish line. Here's what Daniel does with that $3,900. Rent, $1,200, groceries and utilities, $600, car payment and insurance, $450, lifestyle, eating out, subscriptions, weekends, $650. And then, because Daniel is responsible, he puts $800 straight into a savings account every single month without touching it. Total spent, $3,700. He's even saving $100 extra into a rainy day fund. Daniel feels good. Daniel feels smart. Now here's what Ethan does. Same rent, same groceries, same car costs, same lifestyle spending. But Ethan puts his $800 differently. $400 goes into a Roth IRA. $300 goes into a total market index fund. $100 sits in a basic checking buffer. From the outside, they look identical. Same apartment building, same kind of cars, same Friday night dinners. But underneath the surface, two completely different machines have just been switched on. And over the next 20 years, one of those machines is going to do something that looks almost impossible. Here's what nobody tells you about saving money. Saving money is not the same as building wealth. They feel identical from the inside. They produce completely different results on the outside. Daniel's $800 a month goes into a high-yield savings account earning around 4.5%, which right now sounds great. And in the short term, it is great. Year 1, Daniel has $9,800 saved plus interest. Year 2, $19,900. By year 5, Daniel has just over $53,000 sitting in savings. That's real money. That's a number that feels like security. But here's what's happening underneath that number that Daniel cannot see. Inflation is running at an average of 3% per year. His savings account is earning 4.5%. That means his real return, the actual purchasing power he's gaining, is about 1.5% per year. On $53,000, that's $795 in real growth annually. That's not building wealth. That's barely staying ahead of the cost of living. And here's where it gets worse. Interest rates on savings accounts don't stay at 4.5% forever. They follow the Federal Reserve. When rates drop, and they always eventually drop, Daniel's 4.5% becomes 2%, then 1.5%, then 0.5%, like it was between 2009 and 2022 for over a decade. During those 13 years, every dollar Daniel had in savings was quietly losing purchasing power every single month. He wasn't building wealth. He was storing money in a leaking bucket and calling it a plan. Now look at what Ethan's $800 is doing in that same period. His $400 in the Roth IRA is compounding tax-free. His $300 in the index fund is tracking the total market at a historical average of 10% annually. He's not earning 4.5% on a good year. He's averaging 10% through every year. Good years, bad years, crash years, recovery years. By year 5, Ethan's portfolio is sitting at approximately $61,000. Just $8,000 more than Daniel. Nothing dramatic. The machine has barely started. This is where the story stops being about money and starts being about mathematics. Compounding is boring for the first 5 years. It is violent for the next 15. Daniel keeps saving. By year 10, he has accumulated $118,000 in savings. It looks like a lot. At 35 years old, $118,000 in the bank feels like winning. Ethan's portfolio at year 10, with $400 monthly Roth contributions plus $300 monthly index fund investing at 10% average annual return, is sitting at approximately $166,000. The gap is $48,000. Still not catastrophic. Still feels like Daniel could catch up. Here's the number that changes everything. By year 15, Daniel is now 40, Daniel's savings account has grown to $179,000. He's added more, rates have moved around, but the trajectory is steady and slow. Ethan's portfolio at year 15, approximately $342,000. The gap just became $163,000, and Daniel still feels fine because $179,000 in savings looks like wealth. It looks like security. He can see it, touch it, access it anytime. It feels like everything financial advice told him it should feel like. But feelings and math are two very different things. By year 20, both men are now 45, Daniel has his $97,000. Wait, what happened? He was at $179,000 at year 15. Why is he lower at year 20? Because life happened, and this is the cruelest part of the savings trap. Because Daniel kept his money liquid, because it was right there, accessible, always available, he used it. The roof needed replacing, $14,000. His car died suddenly, $11,000. His daughter's college tuition gap, $22,000. His mother's medical emergency, $18,000. Daniel did exactly what a savings account is designed for. He used it for emergencies. But here's what nobody told Daniel. Every time he dipped into that savings account, he wasn't just spending money. He was destroying future compounding. That $14,000 roof repair didn't cost him $14,000. At 10% annual returns over 10 years, that $14,000 would have become $36,000. He didn't spend $14,000. He spent $36,000. He just won't see it until it's already gone. Ethan's portfolio at year 20, $1.1 million. Same salary, same amount, 20 years apart. A gap of over $1 million. Here's the question that should be driving you crazy right now. Daniel isn't stupid. He has a college degree. He reads financial articles. He listens to advice. He does everything people tell him to do. So why did he end up here? 3 reasons, and all 3 of them are psychological traps disguised as responsible behavior. Trap number 1. Visible money feels safer than invisible growth. Daniel can log into a savings account and see $97,000. It's right there. He can withdraw it tomorrow. That visibility creates a feeling of control that is completely disconnected from financial reality. Ethan's $1.1 million doesn't feel as real because he can't spend it without a process. But that friction, that slight difficulty in accessing it, is exactly what allowed it to grow. Money you can touch easily is money you will touch. Money with a small barrier becomes wealth. Trap number 2. Saving money feels virtuous. Investing feels like gambling. From childhood, almost every financial message most people receive sounds like this. Save your money. Don't spend it. Put it away for a rainy day. Nobody sits a 10-year-old down and says, put your birthday money in a low-cost index fund and leave it for 30 years. Saving feels responsible. Investing feels like risk. So people save and call it being smart without ever asking whether saving is the right tool for what they're trying to build. Trap number 3. Savings accounts protect you from the one thing that builds wealth: volatility. The stock market drops, sometimes dramatically. In 2008, it fell 37%. In March 2020, it dropped 34% in weeks. Those crashes are terrifying, and Daniel watched them happen and felt grateful that his money was safe in savings, protected from all of it. What Daniel didn't calculate is that protection from volatility is also protection from growth. You cannot have a 10% annual return without surviving the years it drops 30%. The crash is the price of admission for the compounding. There is no way to get one without accepting the other. Ethan didn't enjoy watching his portfolio fall in 2020, but he didn't sell, and by the end of 2020, the market had fully recovered. Daniel's savings account had earned 0.5% that year. Let's put real numbers to this so it's impossible to ignore. $800 a month for 20 years in a savings account at an average of 2% annual return, accounting for rate fluctuations, gives you approximately $236,000. $800 a month for 20 years in a total market index fund at 10% annual return gives you approximately $607,000. The difference is $371,000. From the exact same amount, the only variable is where the money sits. Now factor in inflation. The real purchasing power of that $236,000 in savings, adjusted for 20 years of 3% annual inflation, is closer to $130,000 in today's dollars. Daniel didn't just fall behind Ethan. In real purchasing power terms, Daniel barely moved forward at all. Here's the number that should genuinely change how you think about your savings account starting today. Every $10,000 sitting in a savings account instead of a diversified index fund for 20 years costs you approximately $57,000 in foregone growth. At 30 years, that same $10,000 costs you $164,000. Your savings account isn't protecting your future, it's quietly billing it. This is not an argument against having savings. Let's be exact about what the math is actually saying. Savings accounts have one job, and they do it well. That job is storing money you will need in the next 1 to 3 years. Emergency fund, down payment, known upcoming expense. That is the right tool for that job. The mistake Daniel made was using a short-term tool for a long-term goal. He used a savings account to build retirement wealth. That's like using a bicycle to cross a continent. It's not that the bicycle is broken, it's the wrong vehicle for the distance. Here's the framework that changes everything. 3 buckets. Every dollar you earn should know which bucket it belongs in before it moves. Bucket 1, the safety net, 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high-yield savings account. This money is not for growth. It is for emergencies only. Once it's funded, stop adding to it. Bucket 2, the short-term goals, money you need in 1 to 5 years. House down payment, car replacement, wedding. High-yield savings or short-term bonds. Stable, accessible, not in the market. Bucket 3, the wealth engine. Everything else. Every dollar beyond your safety net and your short-term goals belongs here. Roth IRA, index funds, brokerage account. This money has one job: compound for decades without being touched. Daniel's problem was never that he saved $800 a month. His problem was that he kept filling bucket 1 and never built bucket 3. For 20 years, he funded his safety net over and over again, never letting a single dollar enter the machine that built actual wealth. Here's the action this week. Pull up your bank accounts right now. Calculate exactly how much you have in savings above 6 months of living expenses. That number, whatever it is sitting in the wrong bucket. It is not protecting you. It is costing you. Move it to a Roth IRA if you haven't maxed your contribution this year. If you have, move it to a low-cost total market index fund. Set up an automatic transfer so every future dollar above your safety net threshold goes directly to bucket 3 without you having to think about it. That automatic transfer is the entire mechanism. Daniel never built it. Ethan built it at 25 and never turned it off. Daniel did everything right. He saved every month, he kept his emergency fund full, he never made a reckless financial decision in his life. And at 45, he has $97,000 and a quiet, growing anxiety that something went wrong somewhere, but he can't figure out where. Ethan trusted math over feelings. He accepted volatility as the price of compounding. He built the right machine at 25 and let it run. At 45, Ethan has $1.1 million, and options Daniel can't imagine. Same paycheck, same starting point, same 20 years. The difference wasn't discipline, it wasn't luck, it wasn't income. It was knowing that saving money and building wealth are not the same thing, and acting on that difference before it was too late. The most dangerous financial habit isn't spending too much. It's doing the responsible thing in the wrong place for 20 years. If this changed how you see your savings account, every week we run the real math on the financial decisions most people make without ever checking the numbers. And next week, we're going to show you something about your monthly expenses that is going to make you genuinely angry. See you there.